Hi, my name is Tori Nagai and I am finally here making my first proper YouTube video. It only took me traumatizing myself into realizing the possibilities of not making this video in the future. The truth is I've been wanting to start YouTube in any shape or form for such a long time, and I always just stopped myself because the process really terrified me. So I just got to say I'm really happy and I'm very proud of myself. I'm finally sitting here. So what I wanted to talk about today is something that I just hope brings some sort of value to people's lives. And it's the 25 lessons for 25 years of my life. I had my 25th birthday about 2 months ago now. I had the inspiration for this lesson since 25 is such a nice round number, quarter century. And also I was hit by quite a strong quarter-life crisis, if you wish. Realized a lot of things I have made, a lot of mistakes in my life, and a lot of good things that I also learned. And I just felt, damn, I wish I could tell myself from the past a lot of things. So this is the approach I am taking over here. I compiled a list of 25 things, 25 lessons that I really wish I knew earlier in my life. I wish someone could have told me that. And I feel since we are not that different as human beings, maybe this will bring some sort of value to people's lives. Just a little disclaimer, this is obviously all based on my life experience. You do not have to follow any of the things I tell you. You're free to criticize the things I tell you. Maybe you had a different life experience that would bring you to different conclusions. I really tried to put on the list the things that I feel are as universal as it can be. We have actually, as human beings, so many things in common. I feel that maybe my experiences, the mistakes that I made, and the things that I did right in my life could influence other people in some sort of positive way. I also feel that I could spend at least 10 minutes on probably every single one of those points. I'm gonna try to be as brief as possible. If you are interested in any of them, and if you would like for me to go in depth into any of them, just please let me know in comments. I would be happy to have some sort of idea for what people are interested in. So without further ado, those are the 25 lessons for 25 years of my life.
Number 1.
Let go of your expectations. What was supposed to be in your life will stay in it or come back to you, and what goes away was not supposed to be there in the first place. And it's actually something that sounds very easy, maybe very obvious, but I feel in practice is something very hard to deal with. We as human beings tend to cling to a lot of things that may not necessarily be good for us, but because of different traumas, different needs, we just tend to cling to other people, certain habits, certain physical things that may not be good for us. And I think just letting go is like the best test for what is actually supposed to be in your life. It is a hard task to do, but I found this one of the most liberating things you can do for yourself in your life. Number 2, drink orange juice every day. Fresh orange juice, of course. Or eat any sort of fruits which are rich in vitamin C, because it's better to prevent than heal. I found out through many sort of mistakes that I made in my life that boosting your immune system is the most effective way of preventing diseases. Honestly, for the past 2 years, just because I've been drinking orange juice, fresh orange juice, not all those replacements with a lot of preservatives and extra sugars. No, I'm talking fresh orange juice or eating fresh oranges, kiwis, a lot of other things that just have vitamin C in them. I haven't really gotten sick for the past 2 years straight, while before I used to get sick every winter, every autumn, really badly, and have a lot of complications. I feel this is a point in which I would definitely like to make another video on, together with sharing with you some really bad decisions I made towards my health in the past. I feel that it's quite a big cautionary tale, but the moral of the story is boost the hell out of your immune system, best through natural sources of vitamin C. honestly, you're gonna thank yourself in the future. Number 3, learn to understand your parents. The more you understand your parents, the more you understand yourself. Whether we like it or not, we are half of each of our parents. And together with our genes, we inherit a lot of their passions, their shortcomings, their troubles, mannerisms. You don't need to necessarily be brought up by your parent to still inherit those things, which is a very interesting topic. I was brought up without my mom, and yet I am almost mirror image of her and a lot of her passions and also a lot of her shortcomings. So I feel the more you learn about your parents, the more you're able to understand yourself and your own desires, your own troubles. Understanding your parents also has a massive meaning for actually making peace with any sort of issues you might have had from your childhood. So the more you understand them, the more you're inclined to forgive them for anything they might have messed up as parents. Number 4, the best investment in your life is education. I don't think that's anything revolutionary, but just to make it a short point, if you have a certain extra amount of money and you can choose between buying yourself the 20th pair of designer shoes or designer bag, or you can invest in a course or any sort of thing that may instead teach you a valuable skill, always go for the skill. I was incredibly blessed in my life having a father who could have provided me with a lot of extracurricular activities throughout my childhood, and I need to say it was probably the best investment and something I'm most grateful to my father for. If you're not that lucky, your parents may not have the resources, I feel that still, whenever there is a little bit more of a resource and you have a choice of putting this into something tangible, something futile, something that will really not bring much value to your life, the best investment you can possibly make is your own education. Number 5, everybody manipulates everybody. It's our own responsibility not to get manipulated. Manipulation is present everywhere, not just in media, not just online or in TV or amongst politicians or in interpersonal relationships. Even little babies manipulate their parents to get what they want. We may not even always realize that we do this, but truly everyone manipulates everybody. Therefore, I feel it is our own responsibility not to get manipulated by others. And the earlier you realize this, the earlier you start learning how to pick up on those little manipulations from other media or other people, you'll be able to protect yourself from them. You'll be conscious of what's going on around you. Number 6 is something that is a little bit connected with that, and it's all about learning to read other people's body language and their energy. 80% of any communication between humans is body language, actually. Just 10% is the tone of voice, and another 10% is actual content on what they say. Therefore, if you learn to pick up on any misalignments between the body language and what people are actually saying, you'll be able to tell when someone is basically lying to you or not telling the whole truth or trying to manipulate you. Same goes for the energy, which is a bit more tricky process in my opinion, and people probably don't talk about it as much either. Because as much as body language is a very tangible thing, energy is just something that you kind of can feel, or sometimes have this gut feeling. But I'm sure every one of you had this situation in which you just like walk into the room or are next to a person and they're not even saying anything to you, but they're stressed out. You know that they have this bad energy emitting from them. You can most of the times tell when there's some sort of misalignment between what people are trying to show you and what's actually going on inside them. Learning to read that energy is a whole nother topic, but try to learn that and reading body language. This will truly, truly change your life. Number 7, speak in a way so you can be heard, understood, and so people want to listen to you. This is a rule I was taught by my reciting teacher, which I had around my high school years. It's basically about taking responsibility for how you are perceived through your speech. Number 8, learn to enjoy spending time alone. This is one of the most important things in life possible, in my opinion. And it may not concern everybody, but there is a fair amount of people that feel like if they're not spending time alone, they need to always have somebody around them to feel good, or they have a general issue with spending time by themselves. And I did have that issue at some point of my life. I felt that it's way better to have an amazing experience with someone else than by yourself. The truth is, I guess pretty obvious truth, you spend most of your life by yourself. We are born alone and we die alone. We pass a lot of amazing people along the way, but if you do not enjoy the time that you spend by yourself, you will not enjoy the majority of your life. So this is something you really should learn to do, and I'm assure you there are many ways to do so if you struggle with that. Number 9, and I'm gonna start running out of fingers soon. Number 9 is gratitude is the best remedy for despair. I'm not sure if this is anything revolutionary to you, but it feels very counterintuitive in the times of despair to reach out to gratitude and actually push yourself into thinking about the good things in your life. I know it's very hard, but it's truly the best thing you can do for yourself. If you're having a particularly bad time, and I'm pretty sure there may be a lot of people those days struggling with that, take a piece of paper and write your gratitude list. Write all the things in your life that you're actually grateful for. And I am sure there are more things that you can even think about at the moment. Just take some time, sit down and appreciate all the little things. Do you have a house? Do you have internet? Are you warm? You may not be, but do you have clothes on your back? Majority of people in the world are actually deprived from those luxuries. So if you're watching this video, you're probably better off than majority of people on this planet. Realizing that you should be grateful for it can really pick you up from really down place. At least that works for me, and I hope that can work for you too. Number 10, find the most pleasurable form of exercise and do it regularly. This is basically me saying move. Just move, because movement will definitely energize you, make you stronger, healthier. The part of it that I want to focus on is it's important to really enjoy the movement that you do. I've never been a sports person. Every single thing during PE classes I try to do on like the lower level of effort, because I just hated it so much. But what I always enjoyed has been dance, and I've been dancing throughout many years, just because I enjoy this form of exercise so much. So find whatever it is and just do this regularly, even if it's just having long walks. It's so incredibly important to move the muscles that you've been given in your body in whatever way it is. I don't think I'm I'm saying anything groundbreaking over here. I think this is pretty obvious, but I had to include it because it's just such a big truth of life. I run out of fingers, but number 11, moisturize. Both on the outside of your body and on the inside. I mean, get some good creams and moisturize your skin and drink a lot of water. It's such an act of self-care. I personally consider it such a empowering thing whenever I buy myself a nice, good cream and I moisturize my skin every day. Drinking a lot of water is also a way of preventing a lot of disease and detoxifying your body, and it can just go such a long way towards improving your overall health. So yeah, moisturize from in and out. Number 12, the real growth starts outside your comfort zone. It's something I need to remind myself of every single day. I am definitely one of the people that seek a lot of comfort in their lives, but time and time again I proved it to myself that whenever I want real growth, real change, real improvement in my life, I need to get the hell out of my comfort zone as far as possible. Whatever it might be for you, if you feel that just Sleeping in a comfy bed, having a roof over your head is your form of comfort. Get out, go camping, go travel around without going to hotels, without being surrounded by comfort all the time. Whatever it is, if you want to make real change, real growth, that's what you got to do. It can be applied to so many areas in your life, but I can guarantee you, this is the real way to grow. Number 13. It's actually something that I was told when I was 16 by a colleague from my school, in my high school. And it is, if you make a bad decision, but you own up to it and deal with all the consequences of that decision, it's not a bad decision. It's your decision. Of course, I can totally acknowledge that there are so many bad things that you can do, and it's not an excuse for doing bad things. It's more of an encouragement to own up to your own shit and not beat yourself up for mistakes that you do. Every single person is doomed to make mistakes in their life. But as long as you take responsibility for whatever happens, it is your decision and you don't have to punish yourself for it, as long as you try your best to recuperate for all the possible negative consequences that are out there for this. Number 14, everything that you put inside and outside of your body should be as natural as possible. It's also, I feel, pretty obvious, but I wish I knew it earlier. I had a long story of basically regular soaps really damaging my skin because of various chemicals that they entail, and even though it's such a common thing, since I started using natural soaps, natural shampoos, and everything that I use on my body is basically as natural as I can get it, as it's accessible to me, my health drastically improved. And of course the same goes for anything you put inside your body. Whatever you eat, the least processed it is, the less additives and chemicals it has, that the better for you. Next 3 points may sound a little bit preachy, but bear with me, because as simple as they are, they carry a lot of power with them, and those were things that actually took me a lot of time to learn by myself. So number 15, the road to peace of mind is forgiveness. Whether it is about something we feel guilty for doing ourselves or somebody else wrongdoing us, we're gonna feel guilt, anger, disappointment, all those negative emotions until we learn how to forgive. Following on that, number 16, the road to forgiveness is understanding. If you would like to forgive somebody or yourself, but you find it very hard, try to understand that person or try to understand your own motives. Why did this happen? Why did that person act the way they acted? What might have caused it? You'll most often find that through this understanding, you'll find forgiveness for their action. Following on that, number 17 is the road to understanding is empathy. Try to put yourself in someone else's shoes. As much as it can be hard, once you learn to do that, I swear it will make it way easier to understand that person's motives. And what will follow is finding forgiveness for that. I just also need to really reiterate, forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness is a choice that you make, and you're always capable of that choice if you really want it. Number 18, if someone laughs at you, laugh together with them. This is a lesson that I arrived to after thinking about all the bullying experiences I had in my life. I've been bullying quite a lot throughout almost all my education time, and I would be really happy to share my experiences with that in some other video, because I'm definitely not ashamed of them. As much as, of course, no one will ever say that bullying is alright, the moment you start laughing with the bullies at yourself, you take away their power to hurt you. It's of course a very sort of ironic form of laughter, but you've got to understand that the bully is laughing at you because they want to hurt you. And this way you're taking away all their power to hurt you just by laughing together with them. And just remember, at the source, bullies are very unhappy people, and the only reason that they're doing this for you is probably because they have some shit that they haven't dealt with within themselves that's really hurting. and they don't know how to deal it with themselves, so they're laughing at other people or making other people feel horrible instead of addressing their own issues. So yeah, just keep that in mind and laugh together with them. Number 19, the best form of learning is total immersion. What that means is if you want to learn a skill, take a portion of your time to just completely immerse yourself in an environment where all you do is that thing. One of the best decisions for applying this to my life was the I learned Spanish. I did have a bit of Spanish in my university, but then I took a step of going to Spain to do a language course in Spain for 3 weeks. Then after 3 weeks, I became able to have a basic conversation, still very wonky, but I was able to do that just after 3 weeks. That honestly made such a massive impression on me. I realized I need to do the same thing. So a year later, I went for 6 weeks to Mexico to do exactly the same form of course. And I got to say, after basically 3 weeks and a couple of shots of tequila, I was able to have a fluent conversation in Spanish. So I can totally assure you this is the most effective way of learning at least the language. But I'm sure that this can be applied to many other things too. Whether you go to a special camp in which you do something for a certain amount of time, or some form of course in which you have to be totally immersed, and this is definitely the best way of learning a skill. Or you can just do this by yourself. Just take a couple of days to learn a specific skill. Even if you do this from your home, make sure nothing distracts you, and that's all you do for those couple of days. I assure you, this is the fastest way you're gonna learn anything. Lesson number 20, don't do things you don't like just because other people do it. And goddammit, do I wish I told myself that, or someone else told me that when I was younger. I ended up doing a lot of things I didn't like just because my peers were doing it. I mean, I do not necessarily regret having those experiences, but there always comes a point in which I would just find myself among other people doing something, and I was like, why the hell am I here? I am not enjoying this at all. I'd much rather be at home doing my thing or whatever else. Well, I guess it just comes with age, you know, but I feel the earlier you realize you don't have to follow other people, you can just do your own thing. You'll always find someone else who enjoys doing the same things as you do, and it's way better to find people who will just enjoy doing the things that you both enjoy, instead of forcing yourself to do something that feels very unnatural to you. The happier you will be. Lesson number 21, if you tend to drink a lot of coffee, try to find alternatives. I started drinking coffee as a teenager. I feel it was a part of just this general cultural thing that happened at around that time, where coffee shops started opening up around my city, and it was just like such a common place to hang out with friends, or I would just stay there for hours like learning or doing my homework and drinking a lot of coffee. So for years and years, that was just a part of my routine until I became basically addicted to it and I couldn't function without it. It had a lot of effects on my body that I didn't even realize it did, because it was such a simple thing in my life. Who would have thought that it actually had an effect? And I only realized that when about 2 years ago I did a big detox from a lot of different things in my life, including coffee. And for the first time in 7 or 8 years, my nails stopped breaking. I assumed for years that my nails breaking is just a part of who I am as a person, and I tried to take a lot of supplements, gain more minerals, so my nails were harder and stuff like that. And after that month of me not drinking coffee, I realized my nails stopped breaking. I came to a very simple conclusion, to something that I actually pretty much knew before, but it never just kind of clicked in my head. Coffee flushes out so many minerals from your body, and there are so many other alternatives. If you need something that will boost your energy, of course, as natural as possible, there are so many teas that you can try. My favorite thing in the world is yerba mate. It's a very strong green tea that I discovered in Argentina. It has actually way more positive effects than coffee and gives me the same amount of energy, if not more. Also boosts my endorphins, which coffee usually just gives me this high, and then it makes me, like, when the high drops down, it just makes me feel very cranky and not really happy. This boosts my endorphins, so I'm pretty happy. It's good for digestive system too, so Tori recommends yerba mate. Lesson number 22 is something that kind of follows through on the previous point. I think it's very good for you if you do detoxes from things that you consume on regular basis. Whatever it is that you do or consume, it can be coffee, it can be smoking, it can be sugar, it can be some drugs, it can be alcohol, so many different things, even masturbation and things like that. I think it's very, very beneficial if you do like a month detox of each thing. Even if you come back to the things that you were doing before, this reinforces this feeling inside you that you are not completely addicted to it. If you prove to yourself that you can quit something for a month or more for a certain amount of time, it will make you feel like you're way more in control of your life, and therefore you're not reaching out for those things just because you cannot stand living without them. It's more because I choose to do this instead of I cannot stop myself from doing this. So yeah, detox. Number 23, invest in good shoes. I own maybe like 5 pair of shoes that I use throughout the year depending on the weather, but god damn, I've been using them for years. I always use a pair of shoes for years until they're fall apart, but the shoes that I buy are really good quality. A proper pair of shoes has massive influence on your posture, the energy in your body, your feet, those poor little two thingies that have been carrying you all your life around. You really need to treat them well, and a good pair of shoes will go a very long way. Even if you have to spend a little bit more money, this is something worth spending money on, in my opinion. Number 24, learn to save. Of course, mostly I'm talking about money, but there are so many other things that you can just get in the habit of saving, like saving food and not wasting stuff in general in your life. But especially saving money can go a really long way. I really don't think that I need to tell you why. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but yeah, learn how to save. And finally, number 25, don't put too much value on the day of your birthday. It's definitely something very personal for me, but for so many years I've been putting so much importance on the actual day when I was born, and the birthday, and all the expectations that I have in my head towards celebration of that day have caused basically every single one of them to be incredibly disappointing for me just because of the expectations that I have put on that day. The truth is, if it has some sort of importance to you, the best thing you can do about it is just celebrate it to your own, sum up whatever lessons you had throughout that year. I love to write my diary and writing like any changes that happened to me, anything that I learned. This year has been the last year where I am actually putting importance on it, because it was also an incredibly disappointing day for me. So yeah, note to self. So yes, that's it. I really hope that you found any of those points valuable in any sort of way. If not, that's also fine. At least I'm not hurting anybody with it. I really hope this wasn't particularly preachy. It's been something I've been trying to avoid. I'm just literally trying to find some sort of value in the things that have happened to me in my life, and hopefully, even if it helps a single person to improve the quality of their life in any sort of way, I feel that this video had a point and was useful for something. So I truly hope you enjoyed it. My name is Tori Nagai, and I hope to see you in the next video. If you wouldn't mind subscribing and following me on my other social media, I would be incredibly grateful for that. Ciao!